Well, welcome today to the South Manatee Branch Library, part of Manatee County Public Library System and Neighborhood Services. I am Madeline Bernard, and I'm the branch supervisor here, but I always say I wear many hats, and today I have the pleasure of allowing dogs into the library. Usually we have kids and adults, but today we have this great program called Read to the Dogs. This is the second time we're doing it. We hope to do this on a consistent basis. And as you can see today, we have lots of wonderful kids here reading to dogs. And isn't it cute that they're reading to the dogs? And it's a wonderful way to provide a relaxed and safe and comfortable environment for the kids to read. It's wonderful. We have therapy dogs here, so the kids don't feel threatened. If they're reluctant to read, suddenly, they want to sit down. We have several kids here that are waiting to read again, and these are kids that don't necessarily want to pick up a book a lot of the times. So we're thrilled to have these programs. In addition to reading with the dogs, we have a school-age program on Thursdays at 2 in the summer. Throughout the year, we have a preschool program at 10 in the morning on Wednesdays. To find out more about our programs, you can go on our website of www.mymanatee.org and select libraries, and there's an event section for all the locations. You can also look at us up on Facebook, so we're www.facebook.com/MCPLS for Manatee County Public Library System.
Hi, I'm Betty Playden. I live in Palmetto, and yesterday my granddaughter and I were at the library and we saw this program listed, and we thought what a great opportunity, not only for the dogs but for the children to be able to come here and read and use their reading skills and just give some love to these wonderful dogs.
I really liked it because the dog, she was really nice, and I really felt like she was listening. I do like reading a lot.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity. It gets the children excited about reading. It gets them to want to come out and read, and just to give some love and care, and these dogs are just absolutely wonderful.
It's good to read because it improves your brain and it helps you learn better, and you could learn new things from books and things like that. I like reading to dogs because I get to be with the dogs, and they get to hear me read, and I like it a lot. I like dogs.
I would say to bring your children out here. If you just look around at these kids, the smiles on their faces, reading to these dogs is just wonderful.
Make sure you show me each of the pictures.
Okay. Hungry Bridget stole a biscuit, found the biscuits in the shed. They were made for dogs to eat, but Bridget ate the dog biscuit. It tasted salty and sweet at the same time. It tasted good. Mrs. Blair found Bridget there with telltale crumbs around her mouth. "Oh my," she said and shook her head. "You'll go bow wow and turn into a dog. Don't tell my mom," begged Bridget. She wished she hadn't eaten that biscuit. "I won't say a word," said Mrs. Blair and winked. Mrs. Blair's dog winked too. And Bridget thought she heard it say, "I used to be a child like you. Before the happy day, I ate a dog biscuit." Bridget's mom was rather late. While they waited, Bridget felt an itch behind her ear. Maybe they were growing. Mom didn't notice a thing. Bridget wasn't telling. Mrs. Blair waved goodbye, and the dog wagged its tail, and Bridget wagged her new tail in reply. On the way home, they stopped at a butcher shop. Bridget sniffed the air and tried a few little woofs. Mom still didn't notice a thing. Bridget wasn't telling, but at supper time she gobbled her sausage and gnawed her chop and sipped her milk. And her brother joined in until Dad yelled, "It's like eating with a pack of dogs." At bath time, Bridget was a wild dog, and at bedtime even wilder. At story time, she was so full of mischief, Dad gave up. Yet Mom still didn't notice a thing. Bridget was telling, though she wished, as she curled at the foot of her bed, that she hadn't eaten a biscuit. In the deep night, Bridget awoke when the moon was soon to rise. She heard the sound of someone outside. She smelled their scent as a wild dog can. Into the light bounced Mrs. Blair's dog, calling, "Time for some fun." And Bridget went. She romped in the gloom with Mrs. Blair's dog. They tumbled in the shadows and vegetable beds. Then Mrs. Blair's dog leaped over the hedge. Bridget went too, and was swept on the night wind into the park, into the dark, to run and bark with the rest of the wild dog pack. They promised a wallfish midnight feast to Bridget and Mrs. Blair's dog. Then the wild hunt sped up the hill, past the bandstand, the swings, and the padding pool. The moment the moon climbed to the sky, the bandstand became a great meat pie, and heavenly sausage rained from the stars. And when they all had eaten their fill, they drank from the moonlight milkshake pool, and Bridget was happy indeed that she'd eaten that biscuit until she thought of her brother, her mom, and her dad. A dog for a daughter might make them sad. She gazed at the great dog biscuit moon and howled so loudly, made so much din, that the moon exploded and the sky fell in. Gone were the hounds, gone was the moon. Bridget felt herself back in her room with a mom who had noticed that something was wrong, so at last Bridget told Mom about eating the biscuit. "Mrs. Blair was teasing," said Mom. "She wasn't," sniffed Bridget. "Can't you see?" "Not very well in the dark," smiled Mom. "But you smell like my little girl to me. Could we curl up like puppies, just us two? And tomorrow we'll ask Mrs. Blair what to do." Bridget felt girlish again the next day, but they visited Mrs. Blair anyway. Mrs. Blair shook her head. "Of course it was a joke," she said. "I'm sorry if I worried you. Let's go in and brew some tea. I'll find my tin of human being treats." That did the trick, and Mrs. Blair's dog had one too.
What a beautiful story.
Name is Diane Franke with Southeastern Guide Dogs Ambassador Program. These are dogs that were originally going to be trained as guide dogs who, various reasons, did not make it as a guide dog. The idea being to keep them working because they enjoy working, but help the community at the same time. So the Ambassador Program is involving people from all over the Bradenton, Manatee County and Sarasota County area. The dogs are trained and then certified, meaning that we pass tests as far as control of our dogs, how we handle them in public situations. And then we visit schools, nursing homes, variety VA hospitals, all kinds of hospitals in the area to make people feel better. We also participate in the local school system with the reading programs, 1st through 3rd grades, where the kids sit in the hall and read to the dogs. Julie is a 5-year-old Vizsla, Hungarian Vizsla. She was originally a breeder for Southeastern, and when they retired her, then she became an ambassador. And we call them Velcro dogs. She kind of sticks to me like glue. So the reading program itself is a way for the kids to enjoy reading. They enjoy the dogs. They don't think about whether they're reading right or wrong. Nobody's correcting them. They help each other. The kids enjoy it, and they learn, and their reading skills improve in spite, just because they're enjoying what they're doing. The dogs love it. When you've got kids hanging all over you, what could be better? And as far as I'm concerned, my happiness comes from the kids. They enjoy it. They love it. They love it. They look forward to us being there. They don't know much about us, but they know everything about our dogs. They are taught to be in control and very warm and very easy to handle around the kids. Obviously, if the kids come running up and in their face, they might be a little bit startled, but they don't react by jumping up and down or barking or anything that way. They're basically, what you see is what you get. They are very warm, loving, kind animals. Southeastern Guide Dogs' mission is to help sight-impaired people become independent members of our community. As we go out in the community, I think one of our basic things is to make people more aware of Southeastern, that they exist and all the good that they do in this area, and for the people that they help and the freedom that they provide. The main campus is located in Palmetto. It is a 23-acre campus, open 7 days a week from, I believe, 9 until 4:30. And you can walk a guide dog in training or go and hug the puppies in the puppy kennel every day but Thursday and Sunday from 9 to 11.
A very unusual kitten catch. Christy tossed a baseball into the air. She watched as her friend Rachel Walker ran across the grass to catch it. It was the first day of spring vacation, and Rachel had come to stay with Christy's family for a whole week. The two girls were playing in the park while Christy's parents were out at the grocery store. The sun was shining brightly and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. It felt like perfect spring weather. Rachel held up the ball, trembling. "Your turn," she called, ready. Before Christy could realize, loud barking ran through the air. Both girls spun around to see a large black dog bouncing past them. Rachel jumped back as the dog raced by. It was a squirrel chasing, she said, watching the dog run off. Christy shielded her eyes from the sun to take a better look. "No, it's a kitten," she explained, her eyes wide at the sight of the tiny white and gray kitten scrambling across the grass. "What's a kitten doing in the park?" "I don't know, but that dog about to catch it," Rachel said in alarm. "Come on." The two girls started to run after the animals, but they hadn't forgotten very far before a sudden flash of bright light flickered through the air. A cloud of amber-colored sparkles swirled around the kitten. Seconds later, the kitten had vanished and an enormous striped tiger had appeared in its place. A tiger turned the dog and roared. Then, with a frightened whimper, it turned and bolted away as quickly as it could. Christy and Rachel watched in disbelief as the tiger turned back into a kitten with a flash of bright sparkles. Then the kitten shook itself off, licked one paw, and padded off happily through the grass. Rachel rubbed her eyes. "Did you just see that?" she asked, her eyes still fixed on the kitten. Christy nodded. "That looked like fairy magic," she explained. Rachel grinned.
This is my dog, Misha. Misha is a black lab. She just turned 3. She was going to be original
CNI dog, but she failed because she has what they call conjunctivitis in one eye. So black labs love to work, so they switched her out to what they call an ambassador dog. And her role now for an ambassador dog, she goes to Manatee Memorial Hospital, she goes to nursing homes, she goes to hospice, she goes to the VA hospital, she goes to special reading programs like this one. She goes to Virgin Mills, which is a grammar school in Palmetto, where the third graders read to the dog. So we do a lot of special things for the community itself. We do a lot of things for the sheriff's department. Anywhere that Southeastern Guide Dogs wants us to go, a group of us, which were called the Ambassador Dogs, and this is what we do. We love it. I've been with them for 2 years now, and I'm originally from New Jersey, and me and my wife love it, and we have a great time here. Thanks.
What's the best part about reading to the dog?
It makes me feel like that I'm helping a dog, and
Do you like reading? What's the best part about reading?
I heard that it can take you in adventures, and I'm a top reader.
You are a top reader? Where you go to school?
Daughtry Elementary School of Arts and Sciences.
So what book do you have today? Hold your book up.
I have Henry and Mudge in the Family Tree.
Okay. So when you sit down and you're reading to the dog, what does that feel like? Do you think they're listening?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think it's good to kind of be with a dog like this?
Yes, because I used to have a black lab and my grandmother has a black lab. My black lab was half pointer and half lab. And we had to give him away because he was too big and he was only 2 years old like this puppy.
Yeah, he's just a puppy too. So what would you say to other young people that come and get them to read to the dog? Would you tell them it's fun or exciting?
I would definitely say it's exciting.
And how many stories have you read today? To different dogs?
I only read one to that dog over there, and this is my second book.
And you're going to read one to everybody?
Yes.
Are you?
One day Henry's big dog Mudge was sitting on the porch when a letter came. The envelope said invitation. Henry loved invitations. Mudge loved them too, because they usually meant cake. Harry Dad opened it. Said Henry. Henry's father opened the envelope. It's a family remonument. He looks big.
He is what we call a Goldador, which means that his dad is a golden retriever and his mom is a black lab. They can have any colored dog in one litter. They can be brown, they can be black, they can be his color. It doesn't matter. Even though the mom is black, you can have his colored puppy.
How long has he been training for you?
That's a very good question. They started actually right after birth, beginning little bitty things. After a couple of days after they're born, the volunteer goes in and holds them, turns them upside down, turns them over, feels their paws, feels their nose and their ears to get them used to being touched.
Has he been your only dog for 6 years?
No. I have 2 Chihuahuas too.
How long have you been training?
Okay, I didn't get when I was talking about the beginning training. After that, they progress on to other things. So when they're about 10 weeks old, they go to a family. They become part of a family until they're about 18 months old. Yeah, and that family is called their puppy raising family. And I was his puppy raising family for a while. I was his puppy raising person for a while.
He searched and searched. Finally, he picked out a bright orange pear. The rest of the afternoon, he practiced walking like a second grader. Just before the Mudheads came home from work, Bones dashed downstairs and hid his disguise under his nice, big, comfy sofa. He hoped Mr. and Mrs. Mudhead would not notice the happy gleam in his eye and suspect he was up to something. Bones could hardly wait until tomorrow. As soon as his owners left, he would be on his way to school. The next morning, Bones lingered by the window until he heard children's voices. Slinging his backpack over his shoulder, he turned the knob of the unlocked door without any trouble. Boldly, he leaped over the fence and hurried out to the sidewalk. He had never jumped the fence before and was a little out of breath.
It was like reading to an animal that was really good and behaved.
Reading to Peanut by Lieber Schubert, illustrated by Amanda Haley. Lucy lived with Mom, Dad, and Peanut in a little house with a big backyard. One morning, Lucy said, "I need to learn to read and write." "Why?" Dad asked. "I can tell you yet," said Lucy. She collected her markers and sticky notes. "Let's make signs like in a school." Lucy drew a picture on a sticky note and wrote a word, D-A-D. Lucy pressed the note onto Dad's note, but it fell off and Peanut chewed it. "Oh no," said Lucy. She drew another picture on a sticky note and Dad wrote M-O-M. Lucy stuck it on Mom's chin, but then the note fell off and Peanut chewed it. "Silly dog," Lucy said. "You're not helping." She fed him a biscuit. "Want to work in the garden?" Mom asked. "Sure," said Lucy. Mom hoed in a long row. Lucy dropped in the seeds. Lucy made up a song, beans and peas, we're planting lots of green. They planted more seeds. Lucy drew a picture and Mom wrote C-O-R-N. "Thinking about corn makes me hungry," Lucy said. So they hurried inside for lunch. While they ate, it started to rain. Peanut barked and barked at the front door, so Lucy let him out.
Part of our new outlook is to engage in community partnerships. We are part of the Neighborhood Services Department. We like to be a good neighbor. So we're looking at new programs in addition to reading with the dogs with the Southeast Guide Dog Program. We have worked with Veteran Affairs to offer programs for veteran services. We had blood pressure screenings, eye screenings. So we're working with various organizations within the community to provide services to our neighbors, the South County. They have been doing this program, Read to the Dogs, for a while. They've been also at Central. I know they do Read to the Dogs program down in Sarasota, and we wanted to be involved. Aside from the fact that we all love dogs here, we wanted the kids to have another way to engage in reading. Part of my job and the staff is to be professional book pushers. So this was another way of engaging the community to come in and enjoy the library.
Maybe borrowed it for a while. Pup did seem very happy.